Hi, my name's Tress Hoyt. I'm here at Asel Art Supply in Austin, Texas, and I'm going to talk about doing a lesson plan with paint markers. Essentially, what you want to start out with is your basic outlines. And this applies to any substrate that you're going to be painting on, whether it be cups, shoes, plates, any of that kind of stuff. I'm using a Bristol board here. You want to start out with a yellow or a white for your main outlines, because these are light colors. They're going to be easily covered up. If you start out with a black or a dark color, tendencies you might bleed through, and it's just going to take more layers of paint to cover up those darker colors. So you want to start out with something like this, and then you want to progress to filling in your outlines. Once you have the outlines filled in and get the markers nice and inked up in there. And it's going to take a couple of coats, especially if you're using a water-based paint marker, which I'm using right now. And I chose those because they're not as fumey as oil-based. It's still totally fine to use an oil-based paint marker. They're just not as blendable as a water-based paint marker is. And it's going to be a lot safer if you're using water-based paint markers. Now, once you get this whole kind of area filled in and your final, like all your color layers are done, you're going to come to the point where your products will look like this. And I have these skateboards here as examples of finalized pieces where I've put on the black outline for everything and done all my final coloring. Now, once you've come to that point and you've got all of your color on there, your final outline set up, you're going to need to coat this for protective coating. Now, this is very, very important. You want to use an aerosol coating, a clear coat. Krylon makes them, some other companies make them, but you want to use an aerosol, because if you start using brushes and a polyurethane, especially with water-based paint markers, as soon as you start brushing over there, it's going to bleed like this. Bad thing to happen once you've spent a whole bunch of time working on a piece or doing anything. It's just going to essentially kind of ruin it. But, I mean, it can take something from as plain as this to something that looks exactly like these two. And it's not too difficult. Essentially, this whole process can be used for any sort of project that you want to do, from basic lettering on small plastic cups for kids for a party, or something all the way as intricate as designs for a skateboard or paintings on canvas or panels. When it comes to these, let me show you a little bit about the fill-ins. You just want to take the marker, ink it up a little on your hand there. It's an easy way to do it. And then just go from side to side, fill in those sections just like this. And you notice how it's not completely solid. We're going to finish up sections like this, and then you're going to want to let them dry. And this part's dry over here. You're going to want to go over it again. And you can notice here how this is a little bit more opaque the second time I'm putting the second layer of white for these clouds down. When you're using these light colors, it might take 2 to 3 coats to actually get it finished up. But you want to make sure that they're dry before you go back over them, because if it's wet and then you start going over it again, it's going to leave streaks, or it's going to pull sections away where it leaves little white spots or just visible layers of your underpainting. And then once you've finished up this, just hit your black outlines and you'll be set. And that's a little bit of lesson plan for paint markers.